Alright, so on your assignment, it says when an isosceles triangle has exactly two congruent sides, these two sides are known as the, and if you were to look at your notes, the two congruent sides of an isosceles triangle were known as the legs. Okay. On part B, the angle formed by the legs of an isosceles triangle, that's this angle right here, the angle formed, that's the vertex angle. So A, you should have gotten legs. B, you should have gotten vertex angle, or vertex. They got the word angle there. The third side of an isosceles triangle, that's this side down here that's not congruent. That's known as the base. If two angles are congruent, then the sides opposite them are congruent. And if a triangle is equilateral, then it is also equiangular. So if all the sides are the same, then that means all the angles are congruent. If all the angles are congruent, then all the sides are congruent. Okay. And part F, it says find the indicated value using the diagram. If I was you, I would actually label it. So XY is 8, and it has all three sides marked congruent. So that means all three sides would be 8. So then ZY would be 8. G, all of these angles are congruent because it's equilateral, so it's also equiangular. So if angle Y is 60 degrees, angle Z would also be 60 degrees. And in any equilateral triangle, all three angles are going to be 60 no matter what. And if YX was 13, then all of these would be 13. So XZ would be 13. Okay. What questions do you have for me on the front page? All right, on the back page, this is an isosceles triangle. These are your base angles. If it helps you, I would turn your paper so that way your two base angles are at the bottom, and this is your vertex angle here at the top. And then you automatically know that since it's isosceles, those two are the legs, and they're congruent. Therefore, they would both have to be 7, so X would have to equal 7. Okay, here's your two base angles. So these are your two legs. So X would have to equal 6. Here, this one's a little bit more complicated than what we've covered. Since these two sides are congruent here, that means this angle and this angle are congruent. And also this side is congruent to itself, so that's reflexive property. So these two triangles are congruent to each other by angle side angle. We're going to get into that. But these two sides are equal to each other. So it's X equals 6. And notice that they're marked congruent. This angle is marked congruent to that angle. Same over here. This angle is marked congruent to this angle, so we can go ahead and say that 4 equals X. Again, this angle would be congruent to this angle because these two sides, and those are the, like, look at this like one big triangle, like one big isosceles triangle, and then that line just pretty much cuts it in half. Number 5, the vertex angle is 40, and these two have to be the same because the two legs are, so these would be congruent to each other. 180 minus 40 is 140, divided by 2 is 70, so X equals 70. Okay. Number 6, these are the two legs, so these would be the base angles, so they're congruent, so X would have to equal 75. These are the two legs, so here would be a base angle, and here's a base angle, so these are 54, so you would do 54 plus 54, which is 108, and 180 minus 108 would be 72, so X equals 72. Okay. Number 8, these are the two legs, so here's your two base angles right below the legs, so both of these would be 75, that's 150, 180 minus 150 is 30, so X equals 30. Okay. Here's where it got to the more complicated problems. The only angle it gave me was this one was 65, and these are the two legs. So these would be your base angles, so they would both be 65. So then you have to find this angle, that's 130 minus 180 minus 130. So this angle is 50. Therefore, this angle is 50 because they're vertical angles. Here's your two sides. Here's your two base angles, so they would both be 50. 50 plus 50 is 100, minus 180 is 80. So x would have to equal 80. On this one, you had to find the vertex angle on number 10. I know these two angles are going to be congruent, so I need to find this angle. Well, this is a right angle. 90 minus 28 is 62. So this one would be 62, and that's 124, so x would be 56. And number 11, this is an equilateral triangle. Therefore, every angle is congruent. Therefore, every angle is 60 degrees. So 6x equals 60. Divide by 6, x equals 10. Number 12, they give you this angle, and these two form a linear pair, so they have to add up to 180. 180 minus 125, I believe, is 55. So that means this angle would have to be 55 because it's isosceles. So then you can find y. 55 plus 55 is 110. And 180 minus 110 is 70. So y equals 70. And now I can find z. Again, this whole thing is a linear pair, so I do 180 minus 55, and that's 125. So z equals 125. Okay. Now I know that was quick, but I wanted you to have plenty of time to work on your assignment today. What questions do you have for me? Okay. Grace, will you let Natalie in, please? All right, so for your assignment today, you have 6.3 class assignment. It says, this assignment is due at the end of class. It is individual, which means it's on your own. However, you may use your notes or any assignment you completed. When typing in your answers, make sure you use lowercase letters and don't put spaces when typing like x equals a number. Like if you get x equals 3, don't put x space equals space 3. Just put x equals 3. Don't put any spaces in there. And then there is one part where you have to find x and y. That's numbers 14 and 15. Put x equals in the first box and y equals in the second box. Same on 15. X equals and then y equals. And then when you're done, you click finish and click on email my answers to my teacher. Type in your full name, first and last name. Then your group level, that's your hour. So you're in first hour. So if you just want to put a 1, that's fine, or you can put first hour. Your subject is geometry, and your teacher's email is kgoodman@dexter.k12.mo.us. Okay, and then you just click send, and it automatically sends it to me. Okay, go back and check your answers once you submit it and see what you made. See if there's any mistakes from like you just misspelling something or typing it differently than what I did. Once you're finished with the live worksheets assignment, then you have an assignment on Big Ideas Math. It's your Chapter 6 review. You're to work on that, and that'll be homework. But it's not due until Friday, the day of the test. Okay. And I think I have it set to where you can check each answer once, maybe twice. I can't recall. It was like 11 o'clock at night when I did it. So, but I do know I think I did it at least once. All right, before you get started on your live worksheet, on your class assignment that's due in class individual, what questions do you have for me? Okay. If you have a question, raise your hand. Like I said, it's individual. So you cannot help out your classmates. You're going to use that to do the assignment for your notes.
The one from yesterday?
Do that one first, and then you can do the one from yesterday. They're pretty much almost exactly the same.